What's up, guys? So I just thought I want to just record a video about talking about random stuff because I can. I don't know if this is going to be venting. I don't really have anything prepared, but I'm just in the mood to talk to myself, I guess. So maybe this will be useful for some people, probably not. So this is not really like an MIA update in the sense of like, oh, I've been doing it for 200 years and I'm really, really good and stuff, you know? But, you know, just talking about my, like, more emotional side of it and just, like, how it interacts with my personal life and, like, you know, coping mechanisms. Like, you know, MIA real talk, you know? Not that this really is specific to MIA, but just, like, as a nerd trying to get good at language, you know? So, yeah, I'm Miso, and I'm a second-year university student who's, like... I guess, like, I should talk about why I'm into Japanese, right? So, when I was a kid... I was into all that dope late 90s, early 2000s, like all those kids anime with toy tie-ins. It's like Beyblades, Beat 'em On, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, you know, all that shit. And then, you know, you grow up and you're just like, wow, everything I like is from this country, so should probably check out this country. And I guess like that's an oversimplification because like, you know, I went through a stage of like being really into origami when I was a kid and reading all these fucking cringe ass, like, I guess that's sort of like the English equivalent of light novels, right? You know, like kids, young adult novels. They're called the Young Samurai series. It's pretty cringe in hindsight, but I have all of them. I got like 5 of them signed. You know, I was into that shit. Fascinated just by like, martial arts and shit. You know, I was basically just Tunibyo like times 10. And then during high school, or like just before high school, I like got into watching anime. You know how it was back in the day before you could stream shit? I mean, I still don't stream shit, but when your buddy comes up to you and he's like, dude, I have this shit on this hard drive, you should copy it. And you're like, okay, dope, right? It was like that. And then I watched some animes with English subs. You know, I was like 12. And I fucking fell head first. I mean, at first I didn't think anything of it. I was just watching stuff. But then it, you know, it transformed slowly. And you realize you're not watching anything in English anymore. And it's kind of sad though, because it's like, before that time I was like, every evening I would watch, you know, sitcoms with my mother, and it was like a really nice bonding time. And then all of a sudden I just like closed myself up in my room, and I was really self-conscious about it as well. I would like only watch shows with headphones, and I was like super embarrassed about it, about like what my family would think. And then it's like, you know, I'd be in the car like listening to like the Maho Sensei Negima, like character image songs and shit. And then my mother would be like, what the fuck are you listening to? It sounds like chipmunks coming out of your earphones. So like, you know, I became like a very like closet otaku. I mean, not really, because I was a loser, but you know what I mean? It's like I wasn't very comfortable with my hobbies. And from there, like, I guess like I gradually became more and more chill about it, but I just stopped watching Western stuff because, you know, I was a weeb. And I guess like I actually started learning Japanese just because my dad had like this Japanese phrase book on his shelf, right? And he's like, I was like, hey, can I borrow this? And he's like, yeah, sure. And I never gave it back. And, you know, when I was like 12, or maybe I was 13, whatever, 12 turning 13 probably, when I was in like 7th grade, learned how to write hiragana, katakana, and like I still have really bad stroke order habits. Like, you know, like hiragana ya. It's like, I always get the stroke order for that wrong and stuff. It's pretty annoying because I learned it wrong the first time. Not that I do any handwriting, let's be real. So then, yeah, I started trying to learn stuff, trying to do Anki, but not being very diligent. Watching tons of anime with English subs, just like the normal story. But because I was pretty young, I was a bit more spongy than most people maybe, so I picked up some stuff. And then when I entered university, or actually a little bit before that, so maybe 11th or 12th grade, I was like, I had this almost panic attack, existential crisis or whatever, where I was like, if you guys have ever played the Persona games, you know how it's like, after school, you have the choice, like, hey, I can level up my stats by like going and doing stuff, I can study, I can whatever, and then I'm using my time. And I just felt like every single day, instead of doing that, I was just going to sleep. You know, I was just wasting the opportunity to improve my life in a significant way. That really freaked me out. then I was like, I want to start taking stuff more seriously. And then I started like doing Anki, more trying to do RTK. I found out about because of abroad in Japan, oddly enough. It's like the only good advice I got from him. Anyway, and then in my first year of university, about halfway through, and I was going Japanese like pretty, no, I won't say hardcore because I didn't know what that meant at the time, but very like diligently trying to do my reps every day. And then I found Matt's video on RTK and I thought, oh, this is dope. I just kind of went down the rabbit hole. At first I was afraid of doing like, AJAT as it was called back in the days. And I just wanted to start slow and just like play games in Japanese, and I was like, let's just see what happens. And then I just never stopped. And that's where I am today, This is a little over a year later. I'd say like I've just reached like basic fluency, if you want to put it that way. So basically I suck, right? Like, let's be real. So like that's what I'm trying to say, is like real talk about language learning. So obviously in your head you have what you currently are able to do, and then you think, oh well, my experience is bad because of these reasons, and if these reasons get solved, it's gonna be chill. Because like I think obviously like when I get basic fluency, there's still gonna be words I don't know. I'm still gonna make some like slip ups every now and then, or this and that, right? But then when you're actually there, you just realize how deep the rabbit hole goes. And it's like, yeah, I can understand shit, yeah, I can say shit, but it's like the kind of words. I mean, you're reading a book, right? Twice a page at least, there's gonna be a word you don't know. If there's an easy book, then it's different. I'm reading Toradora, which I'd say as a light novel, as a romance like daily life, light novel, it's one of the harder ones maybe, just because it uses somewhat flowery language sometimes. Like it uses chakuriku to say like, hey, somebody's gonna sit down, right? Then they use chakuriku, which is like a word for like aeroplanes touching down or whatever, like touching the ground or whatever, however you want to say it, arriving at the ground. And it's really frustrating because your self-esteem goes up and down because it's like, yeah, technically I can do all the shit. I can read the shit, I can say the shit, I can listen to the shit, and it's pretty dope. But it's so hard to take a step back and appreciate what you have and what you've become able to do. And it's really funny though, because like when I was in high school, Japanese was kind of I don't want to say a side thing because it was important to me, but I didn't know how to get good. So it felt like banging my head against a wall. And so I was like grinding out, just like practicing guitar all the time and writing songs. And it's been so funny how similar the process is. It's literally identical. If you want to know how to get good at an instrument or get good at music, just AJAT, just do MIA. Or just like the same kind of discipline, the same kind of just like listen to music all the time too. Anyway, I'm going off track, but I just find it funny that it's like, I don't know where I was going with this. Okay, so let's talk about me recently. So, I had my birthday party yesterday, and I went to a club for the first time. So I went out for drinks, just like had a meal kind of thing at like a really chill bar with my friends. A couple of us went to this like K-pop event club thing because they had free tickets. My friend's like, dude, I got you free tickets, you're coming. And I'm like, yeah, okay, let's do it. Who gives a fuck, right? But I think being the kind of person who, you're willing to spend all of your time in Japanese and read anime books, I mean like light novels or whatever, books with anime girls on the front or whatever, in public, it's weird because I don't, as a person, I feel like I am a juxtaposition of being really chill and being like, yeah man, whatever, but also being really intense about shit that I care about. And it's difficult to come across as like a normal human being sometimes. Because let's be real, like to be like a diadu, to be like how do you say it, like a popular person, that doesn't work, but whatever. You have to know all the shit. You have to like know how to do the handshakes. Yeah, I got fucking shat on because it's like, hey, when you go for the high five handshake hug thing, you gotta have your hand high. You can't have it low. If you go low, they're gonna get awkwarded out and do a normal handshake, and that's not the thing. That's not the thing all the cool kids do. It's so weird, like how out of place I feel just within my own culture. And I guess that's fine. Like, I don't have any contempt for that. But also, I guess like studying Japanese and trying to get good at it has like a lot of baggage associated with it, you know, from like the outside. So I understand like the image people have of me when they see what I'm doing and like that I'm passionate about this thing, right? It comes associated with like a set of values that society assumes that I have. Like, oh, this dude's trying to be Japanese, or this dude really likes anime. And it's like, no, dude, I'm chill about it, you know? I just like watching it. But it's not like I think it's the best stuff ever. It's not like I think, you know, if you watch dubbed anime, then you deserve to be hung and, you know, all the stuff, like all the elitist kind of, just based on my actions, people assume that I'm like that. And, you know, maybe I am to an extent, you know, mostly jokingly, you know, but it's difficult. Like, let's be real. That shit's hard. Like, how do you be so intense about something that means so much to you and still come across as like a normal functioning person in society where what you're doing is already like sort of, I don't want to say rebellious, but already just so outside of, I guess, the norm, right? And maybe like that's what it takes to get good at stuff. I've had that thought as well. It's like maybe the fact that I am like this and that I'm in this position is kind of a blessing because it allows me to essentially put in all the hours and to get good at stuff and to actually like accomplish things. Because I think a lot of extroverts, they really struggle to put in the hours, you know? But at the same time, it's like if you're introverted and you're putting in a whole bunch of hours into shit on your own time, it's really hard to have anything to show for it at the end of the day. And like I have this with music, like I was practicing for 8 hours a day at some stages, and you know I learned all of this complicated music theory stuff. Like, you know, I started reading this book called like the structure of atonal music, where you're dealing with like making matrices and stuff. It's complicated stuff. I dropped it, but the fact that I tried and got through like 2 chapters of it, actually I guess that's not super impressive, but you know what I'm saying, like I was into that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like unless you're willing to like show it to people and to really take your skill for granted and just do it, right? You don't have anything to show for it. I feel like as people doing MIA and like locking ourselves in rooms for a lot of the time, it's really easy to fall into that trap of just like battling with your own idea of competency or whatever. Because it's like same as a guitarist. It's like, you know, when you started, when you start Japanese, when you start music, when you start whatever, right? You have like what you want out of it. You're like, I want to do it because this looks fun, because that looks cool, because this interests me. And then you go in a little bit deeper, and then you kind of impose your own set of standards. And that's not a bad thing, but you have to be so aware of it, right? Because like as a guitarist or whatever, then you start idolizing, oh, look at this dude, he can play really fast. I'm incompetent because I can't do what he does. And the same with language learning, because you're always comparing yourself to native speakers, right? And it's so easy just to have this like inferiority complex where you're always like chasing your ideals, but your ideals are getting further and further away. So instead of being like an activity that's giving you joy, and it can be very hard to be confident in the abilities that you've honed, because it's like, I think you guys know what I'm saying, but that's something I really struggle with in Japanese, right? Because like I'm gonna use like, you know, I'm not trying to act cool or try to act good, because like at the end of the day, who cares, right? Even if you get native level, then it's like, wow, you're back at square zero, you know? Now you can talk like a normal person and people can judge you, you know, on stuff that actually matters. But I guess like with Japanese, it's like I just want a future where I can speak Japanese, you know? Like that's the real reason we do it, right? It's like if I had to choose between the future where I didn't get fluent in Japanese and the future where I do, it's like the one where I do is the one that I want to go to, you know? That's the long and short of it. That's all that matters, I guess. But it's like, you know, I'll be honest, like I sound pretty good, right? My pronunciation's pretty good. Yeah, I make pitch accent mistakes and stuff, but I'm aware of it, and you know, my phrasing and stuff is pretty natural most of the time. But I'm so limited by so many things, and that's all I think about. And I'm constantly judging myself, and it's like, you know, other gaijin say to you, oh, you're so good, and you don't take them seriously. And then natives say to you, oh, dude, but you're so good, you know, you need to stop taking yourself so seriously. And you don't take them seriously either, because you're like, what the fuck do you know? You're just a native, you know? It's so funny, but it's true, right? And then like, who else are we left to get validation from? You know, people like Matt. Matt's like a whole nother level though. It's like, until you can read stuff from 200 years ago, it's like, you know what I'm saying? So if you're comparing yourself to that standards as well, you're probably gonna not have a very good time. So what do? Because you're never gonna feel good. You're never gonna feel like you've gotten good at Japanese. You'll have glimpses of it though, you know? And you'll have like, oh, I'm glad that I was able to experience this thing because I put in all these hours. But I don't know, it's so weird. Because like, so I have this friend who came to like my birthday thing yesterday, right? And he's like been doing Wanikani. Like he bought a 2-year Wanikani subscription when it was on special or whatever. And, you know, he does Anki and stuff. But like, let's be real. Like I said to him, hey, do you know this word? Majime. And he's like, no, I've never heard that word before. And I'm like, dude, you know, like he said to me, yeah, my speaking is pretty good, but my listening sucks, right? What do I do to get better at that? And then it's like, dude, you don't even know what majime means. Like your speaking can't be that good, right? But obviously I'm not trying to judge him. Like he's doing his own thing. I've shown him Matt's videos. I've told him what I think is important in language learning, which is just, hey, see how people use the language and then copy them. You know, it's not fucking rocket science. It's just so heartbreaking when you see people doing the same shit that you did and you know it doesn't get anywhere. Like you know where that road goes. You know, actually I didn't do Wanikani, so maybe I don't know where that road goes, but I can imagine I have a pretty good educated guess. And like, it ties back to like, how can you be so diligent and passionate about something and not have that influence the way you interact with people and not make that rub on people the wrong way, if you know what I'm saying? It's really difficult. Because like, he's my friend. I want to do what's right for him. I want to have a chill relationship with him and just be friends and be cool and be, you know, not be a dick to him. But at the same time, it's like, bros don't let bros do Wanikani and Genki, you know? You know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of ranting about stuff, but that's what I said I'd be doing, so. But yeah, and then like, so he's part of this mountain and ski club, right? Where they go on hikes and all that cool stuff. And then there was a Japanese exchange student who is joining that club, and he's spending time, like, he's basically trying to hook up with her by the looks of it. You know, I don't care, right? But I do have that feeling of like, there's like no Japanese people in my town. You know that I'm the biggest Japanese nerd around us, right? And you didn't even let me know. Because it's like, let's be real, I know 2 Japanese people within my surroundings. One of them is working all the time, even on weekends. And it's kind of an awkward thing, because like, I went on what I thought was a couple of dates with her. I said to her like, hey, is this a date? You know, we were like at the movies eating from the same bag of popcorn even. I said to her like jokingly, like, you know, これってさ、デートなの? Like that kind of thing. And she's like, nah, I didn't even think you thought that that was the case, you know? And so I took that like, okay, we're gonna be friends and I'm gonna not be pushy and I'll see if she shows interest. And then she fucking did actually, but I was so blind because I'm a KY. And she's like, oh, it's been a while, let's go get coffee together or whatever. And I invite her, and she invites me. So I go out for lunch and she invites me, which is actually a pretty big signal, like, hey, I didn't mean it like that. You know, you can keep going if you want. You know, you can keep trying to pursue spending time trying to get to know me, right? And I was oblivious to that. But yeah, it's weird because it's like being it's hard to put into words. Having the relationship that people in this community have with the Japanese language, where it's like it consumes you a little bit, and then you have to try to fit in interpersonal relationships as well that are connected to the language you're trying to learn. It gets really complicated because it's like your relation to that person is half dictated by your hobby, you know? And so it becomes like, am I interested in this person or am I interested in Japanese and I'm just like projecting stuff onto them? And then you end up like second guessing yourself and feeling bad, and maybe I'm just like super like jisuki kajo, you know? You know? Sorry, I'm getting distracted because I have music on in the background that you guys probably can't hear, hopefully. So I'm just gonna turn that down. But yeah, so I met this Chinese girl who's like actually a friend of the Japanese girl, oddly enough. It's actually so super funny. So I was giving some Japanese lessons like during lunchtime at my university, because I'm part of like the Weeb Society, the Anime and Gaming Society. It's cool. I just lets me meet people who I can like talk to, you know, unlike the other people who I can't talk to. And it was actually, I shouldn't have offered to do it, because let's be real, like standing up in front of people and saying, hey, if you want to get good, you don't need me to teach you grammar, because you should already be like learning grammar yourself. Here are the resources if you want to, but I'm not going to teach it to you. You know, standing up in front of people and saying that to them, it's kind of KY, right? It's like you have the expectation of what you have as like a teacher role, and I'm not doing that because I don't believe in teaching. So it's just super weird. But anyway, I was doing this. I'm not doing it anymore just because I never come to campus because of reasons. So I always cancel. I don't know, it feels bad, man. But so my friend is like, hey, so there's this chick who says that she can tutor people in Japanese, or, you know, tutor people to get better at Japanese. So why don't you ask the people in the class on like the WhatsApp group or whatever, if any of them want to be tutored? And I was like, yeah, well, give me this person's number. But in my head, I was thinking, oh, she probably sucks. Who the fuck does she think she is, tutoring people in Japanese and like charging money? She's probably not even fluent. So then I hit her up and I like speak to her in Japanese, and I'm like, actually no, she's pretty good. And I go for lunch with her. I actually get on with her, and she's really cool. So I've been seeing her. I don't know if you can call it dates, because I'm a KY. I don't know what's going through her brain. But I think it's a pretty promising sign when you're having lunch with somebody and because it was my birthday, she's like, oh, I can't come to your birthday party, but you know, I want to celebrate it for you. So why don't we go for lunch and I'll buy you cake? You know, that's a pretty good sign. And then we go, and then because she lives pretty close by, I'm like, hey, I'll walk you back as well. And then when we're leaving, or while I'm about to like drop her off, she's like, yeah, well, some of me and my friends were talking about going to the beach. You know, you should totally come. We should hang out more. Like, that's a good sign, right? I don't know. See, it's like, whatever. Yeah, what else can I talk about? Let's talk about like actual immersion. So I think like a lot of people on the server take stuff a little bit too seriously, like Dogma. I feel like the quick start guide is dope, and I wish I had it when I was like a super noob, because it's a really cool resource. A lot of people see things in terms of black and white. I'm doing bilingual sentence cards, or I'm doing monolingual sentence cards. I'm doing audio cards, or I'm not. It's like, be chill, dude. Like, make a sentence card, put Japanese on it. If you don't understand it, put English on it. You know, who cares? You know, at the end of the day, there's more important things, like the fact you're actually watching shit and stuff. So what I've been doing at the moment that's been working really cool, been working really well, yeah, I'm not even native level English, apparently, is making audio cards. And it's really dope, because it's like, when you know a card from just reading it, as soon as you hear somebody actually say it for the first time, you're like, you have to remember, like, oh, is that word? Oh, it's that word that looks like this. And then you have to like relearn it. Whereas when you know like how a word sounds, and maybe you see the kanji just from the back of the card or whatever, it's so easy, because then it's like you've already like half acquired it in terms of just like listening. And then when you're reading, you just have to go, oh, I don't know how to read this word. You look it up. Oh, yeah, I did know that word. I just didn't know how to read it. And that happens to me quite a lot at the moment. So I highly recommend audio cards. They're super cool. Also, just like there's so many cool plugins and stuff coming out, like the dictionary add-on. So useful. Like, although it kind of sucks that the Google Images doesn't have safe search, because like I ended up searching the word bestiality. I didn't know that it was the word bestiality. You know, it's in Portuguese. You know, Japanese. I'm just joking. And I didn't know that was the word, because the kanji didn't make it super obvious. Because it's like there's that one kanji that's like onna, where it's like 3 women, and then I don't remember what the other kanji is. It's probably like inang, like liud, right? Something like that. Or maybe it's something like ju, like beast, right? Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so I looked up this word, and then like the Google Images, I'm like, what the fuck am I looking? It was super funny, actually. But I can see that that's a big pitfall, is just like looking up really suspect words that you don't know. You can't tell because you don't know the word. Anyway, but yeah, like the frequency stuff. Frequency lists are a lie, by the way, because like, so I was speaking to Matt over VC the other day, and He was like, hey, did you ever wonder why you say like 手に入れる ireru. It's probably ireru, right? Ireta, yeah, it's definitely heban. Yeah, you say like 手に入れる, but then you say, what's the word, like nyushu, right? So it's like the order is reversed. I'm like, I've never seen the word nyushu before, dude. And he's like, you know, sometimes I think you're good, and then it's like I realize how long you have to go. That's what he said. You know, and he's right, but it's funny because it's like that's supposed to be a 3-star, right? Which means it's like 30k words or something, 1 in 30k words, or it's like the 30,000th, you know, somewhere around there in terms of frequency, which is actually pretty common, right? And then the phrase like takane no hana, right? Like takane no hana. I don't know if it drops. Let's not talk about that much nerdy stuff. Let's just be chill, okay? This is what I mean, like I'm chill, but then I get super autistic. I shouldn't say that word because I'm not autistic and that's disrespectful and not, you know what I'm saying, right? And I get super intense about stuff and I'm like, I'm talking to people who don't know anything about Japanese and I'm like, oh, is the pitch accent that or that? And they're like, dude, chill, you know? It's not a very good look, by the way. Maybe it is, it just shows I'm passionate, but anyway, so what was I saying? Yeah, takane no hana, takane no hana. Super hard to switch between English and Japanese. I'm sure you guys already know that though. But anyway, like that word is like no stars. So it should be super rare. I see it 3 times in 4 days. You know, it's like, it's literally a meme. Frequency is, I mean, they say that there's like only 3 types of lies. Good lies, bad lies, damned lies. I don't know how it goes. But I think it's like lies, damned lies, and statistic. So I don't know, don't take the stars too seriously. Don't be like, oh, I've seen this word 6 times today in my immersion, but it's 2 stars, so I can't add it because it says on the quick start guide that I need to only be adding 4-star words or something like that, you know? Be chill, just add words if they look important. Something else I've been experimenting with is just different ways of mining, like trying to use manga, and just like take screenshots and then Bluetooth it from my tablet to my phone and then stick it on a card or something. You know, just doing stuff like that is pretty interesting. Just looking for ways to keep it fresh. So what I've been doing is like I'll read a light novel and then I'll have either the paperback or I'll have it on my Kindle. And then on my phone in the notepad, I'll just have a list of words. And obviously they're sort of in the order that I read them in the book, right? So if I have the Aozora... Holy shit, speaking Japanese when you speak English is difficult. The Aozora bunko file, right? The text file. Then you can just like Control F and just look for the word and then you'll find the sentence. So you don't have to transcribe the whole sentence because that's a mission. And I've been doing it like that. Really, really easy. Been doing that with Toradora. Yeah. But I feel like most of the words I'm learning are super odd. Like, what were the words like, fuck, I don't know, Sampakugan, like 3 white eye, and it's something like, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're reading an easy light novel, you know? It like it looks easy, it has an anime goal on the front, how scary can it be? But it's like, there's rare words like every page. And so like fluency really doesn't mean anything. Because it's like, yeah, you're understanding stuff, but at the same time, you're still beating yourself up because there's a word every page you don't know, depending on what you're reading, obviously. But yeah, if it's slice of life, like getting to close to 100% comprehension on slice of life is really chill. But it's also interesting, just like I was kind of debating with one of my friends on Discord about input and stuff, and he was saying like, I said that to him like, hey, you should like probably be able to understand almost all the slice of life before you start like focusing on output. And he's like, no, dude, that's way too much input first. You know, how it works is that you get input and then you get output and you get more input. And like, he's not wrong, you know, like that works pretty well, except that you make bad habits. That's the only bad thing, right? But yeah, like slice of life is easy. So if you don't understand it, just keep watching it. Also like, I guess like something toxic that I see in terms of like, the mindset is like, if something is easy, people are like, well then I shouldn't be reading that because I'm good and I don't want to read easy stuff, you know? Like your ego gets in the way of you learning all of the words that are actually important because you're like, oh, I'm so good at Japanese, I've read like 1 4-comma manga, so I'm gonna fucking try to, I don't know, read Steins Gate or something. And Steins Gate is actually probably not that hard. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this. Something else that I experience a lot is like paralysis when it comes to like consuming stuff, you know? So actually before I started like getting good at Japanese. So this is like when I went to Japan, just like a little bit before. So I was like 15. I was before the drop on the Dunning-Kruger effect. You know, I sucked, but I thought, well, I'm better than every other gaijin I know, so I must be pretty good, right? And it's like my standards were just super low. Still got a whole bunch of Nihongo joji da ne, you know, as one does, but yeah. Yeah, like I would download hundreds of raw visual novels and just not play any of them. And like I have this bad habit of just like gotta catch them all, just like it's super toxic. So like don't fall into that. Just play stuff, just watch stuff, read stuff, watch, you know, like whatever. I almost feel like taking the same approach to playing games and watching anime that you do to watching YouTube. Like if something grabs your attention, watch it and finish it. If you get bored halfway, guess what? There's an infinite amount of videos on YouTube, so don't stress, you know? But it's hard because it almost feels like if I didn't complete the game, then it didn't do anything, you know? And obviously that's not true. So if you play the first 10 minutes of 100 games, you've gotten, I'm not going to do maths right now, even though I'm a fucking engineering student. It's a joke, it's a meme. Anyway, so, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you do the first 10 minutes of 100 games, you know, that's like finishing a game or two, right? Probably, who knows? So like, don't beat yourself up for skipping around and just waiting for something that's actually interesting and you actually want to play it. But at the same time, it's like, it feels good to finish stuff. It feels good to get invested in a story and forget that you're doing it in your second language and just, you know, following it to its conclusion. But don't beat yourself up for not doing that as well. Maybe I'm just over analyzing my own emotions, but I get really like anxious about this kind of stuff. Like in the moment, right? Where it's like you have all of this fucking anime installed on your computer and you're just on your computer like, oh shit, what am I gonna watch? And you spend like 2 hours deciding what to watch. I don't do this anymore. When I was in high school, I did this a lot. And it's like you only watch it for like 2 episodes and you go to sleep because you spend so much time trying to decide. Like that's a bad look. So just like jump in, whatever looks cool. Because you can't know if something is good or whether or not it resonates with you until you experience it. And that's like one of the sad things about being human is like, you know, you might never read your favorite book because you might die first. I don't know if that makes sense. What would have been your favorite book out of everything that's ever been written? You might never get to experience it. But I think that kind of thinking is really toxic and... Okay, I'm just rambling. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore, but... like, consuming media is such a weird thing. Because... it almost, to a lot of people, is how they turn off. You know, it's like, oh, I just got home from campus today, I'm gonna watch some English subbed anime and just whatever. Whereas... what, like, the MIA, like, the AJAP mindset of just, like, turn everything you do into productivity is, like, such a useful life skill. But it does kind of, like, make you look autistic from the side, you know? That's how, the way people view that way of thinking is... I guess it's just because it's not normal to do that. It's like the majority of people don't. But then again, the majority of people never accomplish anything, so... maybe there's a correlation there, who knows? So yeah, do I have anything else to say? I was thinking, like, as long as it's under an hour, it's chill, but I'm not gonna just let people listen to me talk about nothing. So let me think, what do I have to talk about? What's dope about Japanese? Okay, if I can't think of anything to say before this hits 35 minutes, then I'm ending it. Oh yeah, so for my birthday, I asked my friend to buy me Danganronpa 3, or Danganronpa V3, so I'm probably gonna play that. It looks really good. That's actually another thing, like, with media, right? Is that I have this thing of, like, oh, well, I know I played the first 2 games in English, but because I'm playing it in Japanese, I need to go back and play it from the start. Like, don't beat yourself up. Don't be a perfectionist. You know, if you really like a series, go back and read it because you want to, not because you feel obliged to. That's something I struggle with. I try to do that for, like, the Phoenix Wright games, or, you know, Gyakuten Saiban. Yeah. Where I was like, I played the first 2 games in English, but now I'm playing in Japanese, so now I have to start again. I'm like, oh, but this is so boring. I know this, you know? I know what happens here. Actually, I couldn't remember very well because I played like 3 years ago, but... it's like, I'd rather just continue from number 3 because, like, there's like 6 games or whatever, and there's the spin-offs, and, like, I'm probably never going to play them all anyway, so why make things hard on myself? But also, like, I try not to beat myself up for immersion. I just try to, like, I like Japanese media. I like stuff that's made for Japanese people. So I'm not gonna watch that with English subs. That feels like fake. Like, after age-adding, or like after just reading manga and stuff in Japanese for so long now, you look at like English translated manga, it looks childish. You know what I'm saying? It just looks wrong. It looks like the stupid version that stupid people read. And I'm not trying to say that the people who read it are stupid. Like, if anything, being like, oh, I'm gonna learn the hardest language in the world for English speaking people to learn so I can read it in its original language. Like, that's pretty stupid. You know, you have to do it because you're interested in it and because the future where you can speak Japanese is what you want, you know? But I don't know if you know what I'm saying. It's really weird though, because like before I could read Japanese, when I was in Japan, I was like, I want to be able to read novels next time I come back. But I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know what the experience of doing that would be. I was just like, ooh, Japanese looks cool when it's written, so it's cool to read or something. I can't remember, but something I will say about Japanese though is that it still feels like more emotionally rich as a written language than English does, and that's hard to say, but I think the reason is because it's made out of kanji, right? And kanji, you have like emotional connections with them, so you don't know, like, it's really hard to put into words. Like every kanji has like its unique flavor that you kind of hone in on the more different words you see it in, and like that's kind of like the true meaning of the kanji. But it's not like a meaning the same way that it's like, hey, well, apple is that thing on that tree. It's like something really abstract and very, it's almost like a color or something, you know? It's like each kanji has like a specific color, you know, or something like that. And like when you see a word, it just has like a very specific impression it leaves on you. Like what word did I see the other day? Like the word ketsubetsu, which is actually a pretty easy word. Like, probably, I don't know. I know I've seen it before, but I was like, ooh, that's a cool word. I might as well make a card for that just so that I know exactly how it's used. I might use it wrong. But it's like just the way it's written, just like the kanji it's like, it's so unique. Well, not unique, but it's I can't put it into words. I think you know what I'm saying if you are like me. And if you're not like me and you don't know what I'm saying, you know, that's cool. So this is probably boring and you probably stop listening about 1 minute in, but yeah, like English doesn't really have that, right? Unless you're talking about words that are made of like prefixes and suffixes, but that's not quite the same, right? Like English is like every word is just like this random chunk of meaning. Like, oh, why does dog mean dog? Who knows, but it's a dog. Maybe compound words are sort of like that. Like when you say basketball, you kind of visualize a basket and you visualize a ball, and that has like a different feel than if you were to call it, I don't know, dunk ball or like something like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't know. Kanji is really cool. It makes me kind of wish that I was learning Chinese sometimes, and then I think I would never do this again. I don't understand how you can learn Japanese and be like, yeah, let's do that again. I'm more... that's one of the things, like, talking to Matt, is he's like, dude, you just gotta enjoy it, because you're in your golden days. You understand so much, but there's still so much you don't know. And it's like, that's where you're gonna look back and just say, like, those were the days. So enjoy it and just be aware of the fact you're never gonna have this again. And that's so much easier said than done, because it's like, when you're good, but you're not, like, functionally, how do I say it? Like, when you're competent, but your own flaws stick out so much at you, how do I put it? You can't, like, focus on the good stuff. I mean, you can and you should try to, but damn, dude, it's damn hard. Yeah. Okay, I don't think I've got anything else to say, so I think I'm gonna just end it here. So this was a rant. Well, not a rant, it was just me being, you know, like, ari no mama no miso. So, hope you guys enjoyed it. Although nobody watched this probably. So, peace out. Later.